Ever since the lockdown in March 2020, most of the companies across the globe have started slowly switching to remote work. Today, a lot of people are still working remotely. However, productivity seems to have increased and people are working longer and harder than usual. One of the biggest secrets to this productivity has been collaboration platforms, which have helped teams stay focused and collaborate better. My name is Jomi John, and I have with me my co host Shrikant Patatil, and we will be sharing our views on the impact of collaboration platforms on HR and learning.
Hey
Welcome.
Jomi, thank you. How are you?
Good, Shrikant. Great topic.
Hey, yeah, interesting topic. And what I have looked up recently and heard is that there is this whole collaboration platforms that everybody, all organizations are using. And we also noted that HBR mentioned that employees are now spending close to 50% of their work time in collaboration. And Deloitte similarly had an observation. They mentioned that 70% of the workforce would spend most of their times on collaboration platforms. So, very interesting topic. And to share more details and examples, so we have brought in our expert, Subodh Bide from our consulting team, who has actual experience uh, doing this with some of our customers and implementing these collaboration platforms and integrating with them and so forth. Um, so later you will hear more about him. But just to make a point, we also are seeing that the traditional platforms like emails and text messaging, they are they're being used, but they're getting disrupted by these new collaboration platforms like Microsoft Teams, Slack, Zoom, WhatsApp for business. When we thought that for work email is replaceable, today that doesn't seem to be the case. So maybe at that point, maybe I should bring in Subodh and ask him about his thought about these collaboration platforms.
Yeah, sure, Shrikant. And I think we are seeing quite a lot of validation around this. And I think one of it came from Microsoft in April of this year when they reported that the Teams usage went up to 75 million users in a single day. And that has been like almost like a 70% increase that they saw on a single day basis.
That's really interesting to know, which basically indicates that most of the work actually happens on Teams, or is it just audio and video? What does it
Yeah,
look like?
yeah, Jomi, it's revolutionary in a way. I mean, I give this analogy of it's like similar thing that we're experiencing how smartphones hit the world and completely changed how people interacted. So these collaboration platforms seem to be doing the same at workplace.
Great. So, since this is so good, and at least that's what we is coming out. So, have you spoken to any of your customers about this, and how are they thinking about incorporating this new rage, if I may call it so?
Yeah, if I look at it in that way, we took this concept to our customers, and some of them they were thrilled to hear about this. And we weren't expecting that much level of interest, but there was like flurry of thoughts, opinions that came up. Some of them even had objections. Some things were not very clear to them. They had several questions for us on the technology front, on the user experience side, on how migrations would happen, what value additions they would get, and so on. So, all the conversations that I attended, they were like great. And I think there was a new learning for us in terms of how product designers are thinking about using these collaboration platforms.
Subodh, you talk about user experience, and I've been wondering about that quite a lot myself, and I'm sure there are others who are thinking, um, how would it affect things like productivity? How do you want to take care when you're using these collaboration platforms and working remotely? How does it change the whole user experience dynamics? Can you share some more light on that?
Sure, sure, absolutely. So, one of the primary improvements that would happen on the user experience side is that these collaboration apps, they will provide a lot of in-app workflows uh, that HR and learning applications can use. So rather than having their users switch from one application to another in order to complete an action, imagine those workflows, those action items being available for them to work upon right in a Teams or a Slack interface. And as a result of that, the time to response improves, the quality of response improves. Because of this prevention of app switching, the user experience is elevated quite a lot. And that is something that many of our customers, they understood very well, and they are now trying to figure out what different workflows can be injected into these inside these systems.
Apart from the entire the list of benefits that are appearing to be there after integrating with getting all these workflows inside, right? What are the other benefits that could come up as a result of integration with such collaboration tools?
Yeah. So you have to look at these collaboration tools as like another mobile device that you might have. So all these mobile devices, they collect a lot of information. And similarly, the collaboration platforms, they also have a lot of insights on user behavior, on usage patterns, on certain habits that are there. So the technology providers, the ISVs, they are trying to get these insights, which will help them either make their products better or define newer features that can further improve the user experience. So they are betting on the additional information that these platforms collect for those to be available to them for further evolution of their products.
Subodh, this whole point about moving to collaboration platforms, making it integral part of our work, remote work experience. What are the concerns that you have seen? I mean, what are the issues one could encounter while moving to and using collaboration platforms seamlessly?
Yeah, one of the major concerns, Shrikant, that we saw where people were struggling to understand uh, what parts of their applications they would move on to these collaboration platforms. So, do they port the entire application to these systems, or do they take some parts of it? Do they make it more like a read-only kind of an application, and so on? So, in order to solve that, one of our user experience architects, so she came up with this nice method of using design thinking for helping product designers select the kind of features that can be used for migrations. So this is one of the major concerns that we saw. Besides this, there are several open-ended questions that are there in terms of how would these products look, whether it would support branding inside the collaboration platforms, whether they put it on the marketplace, whether it gets distributed in an ad hoc manner. Would there be some kind of a revenue share model that we have seen with some of the mobile application stores and so on? So uh, there are several questions, and we are working with them to answer those, giving them more insights on how it would work. So that way, it's like a discovery that we are doing in hand with them.
So looks like there is this entire phase of knowing how well their customers will adopt, and this entire stickiness concept, right? So how do you think collaboration platforms will change that? Any specific examples you have in mind?
Sure. Yeah. When we were discussing with these customers, we explained them several scenarios. Now, I have like my top three favorite ones that I like to explain to them in most of my conversations. So, first of it is like learning platforms. So, imagine a Slack interface giving you a list of all your courses within the Slack ecosystem, and all the information comes from maybe a learning experience platform. It comes from a content aggregation source, and so on. The second one could be in a job interview. Let's say the interview is happening over Zoom, so the entire interview gets recorded, it gets transcribed, and it is shared with the hiring managers and the other people involved in the hiring process so that they can go through it and give feedback on that candidate. So all of this happens in an automated way, perhaps within the Zoom or the Teams environment. And the third one is more from a workflow side. Let's say there are several employees who don't change their benefits every year, but they just need to sign it off saying that, okay, I just want to continue the same benefits, my beneficiaries are going to remain the same, and so on. So imagine a Teams application where you just need to review certain things and click on OK. So rather than having to sign in and inside the benefits platform, the Teams application itself gives you the facility to sort of review information and sign it off. And of course, there are going to be several examples, and the way we are using the design thinking approach, many more scenarios will come out of it.
Yeah, that's a lot of use cases out there, and I like the learning use case where it will be really great to have these collaboration platforms, and something changes in goals. It can bring in that aspect quickly into your flow of work, which is kind of quite cool, I think. And we from whatever research and conversations we are having internally, it seems like employees have found new ways of working and using these collaboration tools. And technology providers need to make a plan on their roadmaps to adopt and use and leverage these collaboration platforms within the scheme of solutions that they're providing, so that they become like an integral part, like how we mentioned, like how people move their applications from desktop to mobile. Similarly, some aspects of their application, they need to move to collaboration platforms, or they have to integrate with them, because that's where that's becoming central to the way how people are working together. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yes, absolutely. And I think these have been great inputs. And thanks for this. So, if you are a product owner or a product development company, this is really important for you. Restructuring your product roadmap in this new time of remote work is extremely important for you. On that note, we will leave you. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop us a line at consulting@harbingergroup.com. And at the same time, I would like to thank my co-host and Subodh as well for their time. Stay tuned.
Thanks, Jomi. Thanks, Subodh.
Thank, thank you, Jomi. Thank you, Shrikant. Thanks for having
Forward
me.
to the next